Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Friends of Liberty Republican Club honoring our wonderful veterans. We are now going to see the color guard from Olympic Heights High School. Please rise. Please remain standing.
You're on my seat.
Just find it. Will you put in that order? Will you put there? Okay, we just don't go. I'll find another seat.
Color. Up, then, up. Gary. Colors.
Present. Hard.
Ready. Cut. Forward. Mark. March. Left turn. Mark. Color. Hold. Present. Colors.
Gunnery Sergeant.
Gunnery Sergeant here.
One of the cadets will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Andrea Garofalo will lead us in the Star Spangled Banner.
Ready, two.
Please be seated. toes, and if anybody asks me to stand again, I'm going to I'd like to introduce that it is truly my pleasure to introduce the indefatigable, I got that right, the Republican Party Chairman, Michael Barnett, who will very quickly for us. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Helen.
Doesn't need a box.
It's a really, truly an honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and congratulations to Friends of Liberty Republican Club and to all of you here today. And I know there are some who are not Republicans. It's an honor to be with you as well, Democrats, Independents, whatever your stripes, those who fought for our country, who bled Republican and Democrat, valor in defense of our freedom doesn't have a party label. And it's an honor for me as chairman of the Republican Party to honor those 13 who gave their lives in Afghanistan recently, and to all veterans as well ahead of Veterans Day this Thursday. Thank you again, Hilda. I'm sorry I can't stay longer. Thank you, and a very nice crowd. All right, congratulations on the
Thank you. And now with the help of Fred Hadley, who has been such a wonderful friend of the Republican Club here in Century Village. We are so grateful to him. Today he's going to be, as you see all his equipment, if there's a reason for it, because he's live streaming it on Facebook. Wow. And he has always been there for us. In fact, I blame him for pushing me to get started again. And he wanted to know when was the Republican Club meeting. And here we are. Really beautiful, everyone here. It's so wonderful to have you all here. Marcia Stern.
Yes.
We are now ready to hear and see a message from Congressman Brian Mast, who himself is a wounded veteran from Afghanistan. And he couldn't be here with us, so we did the next best thing because Marcia made it happen. Marcia Stern, please stand up for a minute. She made it wasn't easy, and we did it, and again, thanks to Fred, it's going to happen. Can we have that now?
Hey everybody, Congressman Brian Mast here. I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you, but I wanted to say that I thank you all for taking the time to recognize veterans, and specifically those in our community, recognizing them this Veterans Day. Our nation has a proud history of military service from World War II to the War on Terror and all times in between, wartime or peace, across all branches. The men and women who put on the uniform of our nation, they served with honor, and they're the ones that we served shoulder to shoulder with on the battlefield. I couldn't be more proud of them. They protected our freedoms. They kept war from being brought here on American soil. And this is something that we all owe them a debt of gratitude for. And it's important that we take time to recognize their services, recognize their sacrifices, and even more than that, learn from what it is that they went out there and did. Learn why they went out there and served our country. Learn what they cared about that they said is worth their life or their limbs. And learn that we might have the same thing inside of us to go out there and make that same commitment. So I want to thank you all for hosting today's event, and to all of the veterans in attendance today, happy Veterans Day. I salute every single one of you, and I thank you for your service. God bless.
Now we have a little technical issue. We got to raise the screen in preparation for the latter part of our program. Robin, are we raising that screen now? Now the man who was standing, who was much taller than me, I just want you to notice. Stanley Siegel is such a marvelous person to work with here. Thank you for all the help that you have been giving us. The temple has been extraordinary. They've reached out to us. Well, he says if he has to help the Democrats, he's got to help us too, and he's right. Because we're a family.
Stuck.
Oh.
Robin, it worked. And there's another person I want you to know, and that's Robin Lerner, who is an event planner and is fabulous. She put all of this together. See, they're standing there. And, before I introduce our fabulous guest speaker, Commander Tracy, and she's not just fabulous, she's gorgeous. And I can say that easily. I want to acknowledge the dedicated, energetic, and wonderful individuals without whom this evening would not have been possible. We call ourselves the Friends of Liberty Republican Club, which perfectly describes us. So I'm going to call each of your names, and if you're not shy, you can stand up. And I'd like to begin with Elaine Adler, who is, each and every one of our group has been working so hard. There she is back there, of course she is. Alan Bergstein, an honorary member of our group, also a veteran, and president of his own club, the Judeo-Christian Club, which has a fabulous reputation. Judy Iger, who is sitting there and greeting everyone. She's probably still there. Marilyn Glassberg, who isn't with us tonight, but she's been an active member as well. Roz Hamada, is she out there? No, she's right here. I have to tell you what she did, which we've never done before. She's saying, "Oi." Don't say "Oi." What she did was she took all the Republican names that we have, put it in her email system. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to. She did it. And sent invitations out. We've gotten some responses, but we wanted all our friends, and eventually we'll send it to more people who want to be on our mailing list. We sent it to everyone to tell every one of you what we were doing tonight, which is so important, as the Congressman said, honoring veterans. That's close to my heart, and it is close to everyone in here. So, that was Roz. She did that. Sharon Castle, who was working in registering voters. We had a registration table out there, and very grateful for that. Mort Lightman, you know, when you got a man in the club, you got to use him that way, right? So he went and got the water. That was a big deal. Rachel Resnick, Energy Beyond. Herb Roberts isn't here, but Faggy Rubenfeld is. She's supposed to be, anyway. Alan Schuster, who is a committeeman for the Republican Party, state committeeman. Marsha Stern, of course, we met you because of what you did here, and Franz Atz isn't here, and Michael Solomon isn't here. But he's one of the sponsors, so we'll go right along. Thank you to all of you, and especially, as I mentioned, to our member, Robin Lerner. who is a professional events planner. Robin has worked tirelessly for many, many weeks, beyond you can even imagine, to produce this extraordinary evening. And Robin, you know I believe you're amazing. She is. Now I have to acknowledge Temple Bethel. Bethel. Well, that's a different place. It's in a different place, but not this building. This is Temple Beth Shalom. Don't get confused. The president, Howard Rosenhaus, I spoke to him and thanked him. And there he is, and I had a seat for you, right in the front. Who knew? You know, we're all family here, and this is how we are with each other. And of course, Stanley Siegel, I've already mentioned his name 3 times. I hope it doesn't go to his head. He has enabled this Republican club to survive by allowing us to meet here on some sort of schedule, and it's so easy to work with him. Not really, but he is such a fabulous, yeah, you're right. We did luck out with his being a leader in this beautiful, beautiful synagogue. I also want to acknowledge 3 people who are here, and that's Gloria Cayley. Did she leave? Maybe. Gloria, Eliza, and Michael Solomon, who helped sponsor this event. As you can see, we had a lot of food in there. We didn't want you to get hungry. Today I said to Robin, I called her and I said, you know, I think some people, this might be lunch or dinner or something. They're hungry. We better have enough food here. And so we did. And I want to introduce Conrad Ogletree. He wanted to talk to me. I had no time. You know, I'm busy with all of you. And he is doing something special. Conrad, could you come and tell this audience what it is that you do? It's a not-for-profit organization. As you can see, these banners here, we have that, and there's one right here honoring Sid Rosenblatt. Would you tell everyone what it is?
Thank you. I run a nonprofit called Veterans and Homefront Voices. The objective of this is to connect veterans, junior ROTC, to take the legacy of veterans out to the community. The connection comes from the young and the old. JROTC wears uniforms, veteran wears uniform, and it's a natural connection. So in Delray, you'll see banners going from World War II at First Avenue and Atlantic down to Iraq at the 6th Avenue. And in December and the 7th, we'll have a ceremony at Meisner Park Cultural Center recognizing 25 World War II veterans and their guests. And we'll have the cadets presenting to them. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then we're gonna have the Victory Dolls sing for them. So the objective to my friend, a World War II vet, is to put you in a place where you can go back to when you were, and you're young and strong still, but some aren't, where you're young, strong, and save the world. And that's what we're doing. And at the end of the day, what happens is the community is healthier, safer, and better connected. I appreciate it, and I would like just briefly, this is Sid Rosenblatt. Sid Rosenblatt was, and I cannot remember, I think it was the 99th or the 69th Infantry. Fought across France, went into Germany, and his division freed one of the sub-camps of Buchenwald. And it was one of the things he was very proud of. And at the bottom is what we call a legacy statement. And his legacy statement is, people are more alike than they are different. And he spent his entire life after serving proving that point. So thank you to every veteran. Thank you to every veteran's home front. Mom, dad, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, kids, siblings. They also fight differently, but without them, the front really loses its direction, if you will. So with that, thank you to all of our veterans. Thank you, everybody.
And thank you for joining us. I already spoke about Fred, but I can't speak enough about him. And he is a dear friend. See, I'm reading it to make sure that whatever you told me to say, I say.
Oh, you're embarrassing.
And yes, he is a Democrat. We all knew that. And you're a generous guy anyway, who's always made himself available for our Republican Club programs, working beautifully with Stanley. Really, you always have. And that is so appreciated, and I hope it will continue into the future. And please, everybody. Did I do all right?
Merveilleux. Just the way I told you.
And now to our very, very special guest. You see, I can't use that podium, so I'm going to read a little bit. Commander Tracy Burkett Velez. What a delight to have her here speaking to us. She is the daughter of a veteran. She's the mother of 2 veterans, mother of 4 altogether, 2 of them are veterans. And you know what? She even chose a veteran for her husband. How do you like that? He's pretty gorgeous besides. And so I'd like her to come up shortly as I talk about her. I want her to listen to what I wrote. Come on up. Thank you. She really is stunning, isn't she? This is a commander of a whole new thing, you know? I don't know what that thing is, but it's the American Legion, Post 277, I memorized. Oh, yeah. Commander. Amazing. Now, what is her background? She's a nurse. And you know what nurses do. They are our saviors. They and all of yours, those who are veterans, know exactly what they did. And she's been in service for 12 years. So I'm going to read what I didn't memorize. She was deployed overseas in Operation Enduring Freedom. Some of our veterans were also there, and that was in Afghanistan. And from 2004 to 2005, she served with a combat support hospital. And you can imagine what that must have been like with veterans who needed the nursing and the care that only a nurse could give. She selflessly dedicated the past 12 years in service to her country. And she continues to serve in her current capacity as commander of American Legion Post 277 in Boca Raton. Commander, it's your turn.
Good evening, everybody. I would be remiss if I don't recognize quickly a couple people, especially Miss Hilda. She has been amazing in getting this together, and I know she's had help, but boy, she's been on it, and I appreciate you for everything you've done. Also, I just have to say how proud and heartwarming it is to see so many young women in the JROTC. Yes. I'm so proud of you girls. Our veterans are a very, very special group of people, and but to have some of these young ladies coming up, it's just amazing to me. I'm very proud of all of you. And one last group, my American Legion Post 277 members, can I have you quickly stand up? They're so wonderful. I have some in the back. We were escorted here by several of our Post 277 riders, a lot of them which ride with the Patriot Guard and go out to the cemeteries for veterans all over South Florida. So we're very proud of them. Thank you. And just so you know, my speech is long. It's not very long. The longest. No matter how big the print is, I still need this. Those aren't mine. I was like, I can't see with those. Thank you. Of course, my wonderful husband. He is my rock. Thank you. 70 years ago, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed what many historians consider the greatest social legislation ever passed by U.S. Congress. As popular as the GI Bill remains today, it took the horrific cost and bloodshed of World War II to remind many Americans just how great a debt is owed to our veterans. In 1932, thousands of World War I veterans camped out in Washington, D.C. to petition their government for bonuses that they felt were owed. Their campsite was forcibly overrun by the U.S. Army, and at least 2 veterans were killed by police. President Franklin Roosevelt told the American Legion National Convention in 1933 that, quote, "No person, because he wore a uniform, must thereafter be placed in a special class of beneficiaries over and above other citizens," unquote. While Roosevelt would later prove himself to be a great wartime commander-in-chief, what he and others failed to realize at the time is that veterans were not asking to be part of a special class. They just wanted a shot at the American dream that they fought so hard to defend. Most Americans profess to truly love our veterans, especially gatherings like this on Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And while their feelings are usually sincere, it is important to remember that veterans are defending us 365 days a year. The heroism that has been demonstrated time and again by veterans from the American Revolution to the global war on terrorism is sometimes unnoticed by those of us who enjoy the security that their sacrifice has provided. For many veterans, our nation was important enough to endure long separations from their families, miss the births of their children, freeze in sub-zero temperatures, bake in wild jungles, lose limbs, and far too often lose their lives. Military spouses have had to endure career interruptions, frequent changes of address, many, and a disproportionate share of parental responsibilities. The children often had to deal with changes in schools, separation from friends, and hardest of all, the uncertainty of whether or not mom or dad will live through their next combat tour. Warriors need advocates. That's why the American Legion exists. We're here to serve veterans, their families, and our communities. Veterans need each other, but more importantly, our country needs our veterans. You cannot fight a war without veterans. And while the utopian idea of a society without war is appealing, let's not forget that wars have liberated slaves, stopped genocide, and toppled terrorists. Stephen Ambrose once wrote, "America's wars have been like the rungs on a ladder by which it rose to greatness. No other country has triumphed so long, so consistently, or on such a vast scale through the force of arms." It's been often said that without our veterans, America would be speaking Russian, German, Japanese. Regardless of which view of alternative history you take, we do know that without veterans, America would not be America. And as we look at the Middle East today, we know that there's a large, dangerous, and committed group of fanatics that want us dead. And while ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and other terrorists may lack the conventional weapons of Nazi Germany or Imperial Japan, they are every bit as evil in their intentions. Those who defend us from our enemies must be supported. Whether their service was in Baghdad or Beirut, we need to serve veterans as well as they serve us, even when the guns have temporarily stopped firing. Veterans don't ask for much. They do not want to be in a special class, but benefits are a mere drop in the bucket compared to the financial and human cost of war. And while not all veterans see war, all who served in the military have expressed a willingness to fight if called. You can show your support for veterans, men and women, by hiring a veteran in your workplace or visiting a VA hospital or donating to a veterans program. Companies should understand that it's smart business to hire veterans. And when members of the Guard and Reserves deployed, it's America's business to ensure that their civilian careers do not suffer. Homelessness is another issue that affects veterans disproportionately. Too often today's tattered citizen of the street was yesterday's toast of the town in a crisp uniform with a row of shining medals. This is hardly the thanks of a grateful nation. We can do better, and we must do better. Historians have said that Dwight Eisenhower was prouder of being a soldier than he was of being the president. And while relatively few veterans ever reach the rank of general, pride in one's military service is a bond shared by nearly all who served. This pride is on display on every obituary page in the country where military service, regardless of how many decades have passed and subsequent achievements reached, is mentioned with the death notice of nearly every deceased veteran. Fewer than 10% of Americans can claim the title veteran. Far less than 1% of our population is currently defending us in the global war on terrorism. And yet many seem intent on trying to balance the federal budget by diminishing the quality of life programs designed for families who have already disproportionately made these sacrifices. Veterans have given us freedom, security, and the greatest nation on earth. It is impossible to put a price on that. We must remember them. We must appreciate them. God bless you all for being here. God bless our veterans, and God bless America. Thank you. I think we're going to move into another section here. I'll wait for Hilda. In the meantime, I will say I appreciate all of you being here tonight. This is an amazing turnout for an amazing event. I know that on Thursday there are several events throughout the county. I will be actually at the Del Rey event at Veterans Park. There's also an event at Meisner Park, I believe, for Boca Raton. If you can make any of those events and get the chance to thank a veteran, it would be wonderful. I'm
Okay, we're just about ready to remember those wonderful young people, the Afghanistan 13. Their names are in the program, and it gives me the chills just to think about them. What Tracy is going to do with the help of my wonderful husband, Manny. I wanted her to say that. Did you hear her? Yes. Anyway, Manny, please come and join her. Tracy will read the names of the veterans and the corresponding Afghanistan 13 service member. But first we have to get all of you up on stage. So I'm going to ask our veterans who are in the program to please stand. Now you're going to get a real treat because our cadets are going to escort you up onto the stage. As you can see, there are candles all ready for you. Wayne Byron, who is a leader of this wonderful, wonderful program in Olympic Heights High School, will assist as well. So you won't get burned, don't worry. Each of the cadets will take you in hand. Look how exciting this is. And we'll march you up on the stage, but I'm going to ask you to go that way because there's some wiring over here and I don't want them to trip. No, you're just going to go up that way and stand in front of a candle, the first candle that you see. Alan, you're first. I'm depending upon you. He's wonderful. Ask it to send a few more. Okay, would you please take this? This is Alan Bergstein. Would you read off the names? The next veteran
Is,
here.
we'll be repeating their names as they stand. Lieutenant Colonel Anthony DePerna. Howard Verdeen. I'll be repeating their names as they're up on stage. Louis Ferraro. Bernie Hirsch. Mort Cuff, one of our World War II veterans, thank you. Stuart LaBelle. We'll give the cadets just a second to come back down. They won't light the candles yet. I'd wait until they're. They'll burn out before we might have an issue. Do we have a nurse in the house?
Too fast, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I know they can handle a lot.
Very efficient. That's military for you. Stuart LaBelle. Terrence McHugh. Miss Jane Morrison. Fred Waxman. Bob Ness. The infamous Stanley Siegel.
Yay, Stanley.
And Sandy Winters, one of my beautiful officers. Are we all in place? I'm going to call the name and give a little information on the veteran that's on stage, and that will be followed as he lights the candle for the veteran that was lost in Afghanistan that my husband, Chief Warrant Officer Velez, will call out. The first one is PFC Alan Bergstein. He was served in Korea.
Sergeant Johanny Rosario Pichardo.
Lieutenant Colonel Anthony DePerna, Marine Corps Reserves.
Sergeant Nicole E.
Howard Verdeen, E3 in the Navy Reserve. He served in Vietnam.
Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover.
Louis Ferraro, United States Marine Corps, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Corporal Hunter Lopez.
Bernie Hirsch, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps.
Corporal Dagan Page.
Mort Cuff, World War II.
Corporal Humberto Sanchez.
Stuart Lobel, Sergeant First Class, Tory Station, Okinawa, and the Pentagon.
Lance Corporal David Espinosa.
Terrence McHugh, Master Sergeant, Infantry, Iraq.
Lance Corporal Jared Schmidt.
Jane Morrison, Army, Firth, Germany.
Lance Corporal Riley McCollum.
Fred Waxman, Army, Fort Knox and Fort Sill.
Lance Corporal Dylan Merola.
Bob Ness, Sergeant, U.S. Air Force, Turkey and Vietnam.
Lance Corporal Kareem Nihu.
Stanley Siegel, Corporal, Germany.
Navy Corpsman Maxton Sobiak.
Sandy Winters, Army, Seoul, Korea.
Staff Sergeant Ryan Knopf.
May I ask that everyone stand for a moment of silence in memory of the Afghanistan 13 and all the veterans who lost their lives for our country. much. That was beautiful. Thank you, Tracy. Wasn't that wonderful? And now, you're lucky again, everybody. You get to walk down with the cadets. They do deserve a standing ovation, they really do. You can get this. And they're loving that. Happy people. Thank God.
Oh, you smooth property.
And there we go. We call it Lady Marine. Oh, yeah. Vams.
Wouldn't that be funny?
And that man standing with a camera right
that's
there
Marine.
was enlisted yesterday to take photographs, and I'm so grateful, Jack Payson. Thank you. Now the cadets, march to your seats. They did a great job. They really did. They were marvelous. And their uniforms, I don't think I could get into one of those. I don't think I could. Just all right, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to stand over here, and I know he's blocking me, but I'll do my best to. I move when I speak, so I'm going to try and get everyone here. Since I don't have anything that fits me, I have to hold it. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we all did a marvelous thing. We stood together as 5 extraordinary teams led us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our American flag. And I believe with all my heart in that beautiful red, white, and blue. Yes, I don't want to talk like a kid, so I'm going to talk like an adult. Yes, I believe in my America, which for generations of immigrants, including my family, and so many of yours, meant hope, opportunity, prosperity. I was just a toddler in a DP camp, that's a displaced person camp, in Germany, waiting with my parents and sister to leave for the golden land, America. That's what we thought of it, without the language. With visas in hand, and American uncles who sponsored us, thankfully, because that was the only way you could be admitted. We, along with the bewildered but hopeful families, desperate remnants of World War II, boarded one of many ships bound for the New York harbor. As I sat on the lap of a Hayas official, these were the officials who brought the Jewish remnants to America through Ellis Island, and I sat on one of them. I was a little girl. I was already 6, so you can imagine I was a toddler in the DP camp, and now I'm 6. No longer a toddler. My first positive, memorable experience of kindness was a wonderful jelly donut. Today I only celebrate. I don't taste. It was not until I attended elementary school on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, on the same block as the 4-story, sometimes we thought it was 5-story, nobody ever got that right, it was a walk-up, that I learned the significance of Ellis Island and the magnificent story of the Statue of Liberty. I learned from teachers who loved America that to live in America was a gift. I learned that the street I lived on was indeed a melting pot of many ethnicities and religions and colors. These were the friends I grew up with. These were the friends I learned with, and the appreciation and yes, love we had for each other will never leave me. Actually, I keep thinking about those. I remember all their names. Poverty was what we had in common, but also our dreams, which we knew if we worked hard, we would achieve. Well, today I am working hard again for the liberty and freedom I experienced throughout my youth and adulthood, a freedom to believe, to think, to share our thoughts, unafraid. A freedom we cherish in our amazing US of A that today seems to be in jeopardy. Yes, this is your land. It's also my land. And we, all of us, are responsible to continue to uphold values we treasured, values sculpted over the years from the founding and shaping of our country by brilliant and perhaps flawed revolutionaries and dreamers. The mission of our newly formed Friends of Liberty Republican Club at Century Village, other neighborhoods are welcome, is to bring together to fight for a promising future for our children, for our grandchildren, and I have 3 great-grandchildren, and for our great-grandchildren. And I believe we must and can do it together, Democrats and Republicans alike. While you know, Blue Virginia kind of tossed things up in the air, it might be a model for us. That means we speak up. We can't be afraid of saying what we believe. We cannot be afraid to stand for what we know in our hearts and heads is right and just. We can do this together. And I urge you here and now to join us in the name of Hashem, of God, for our beloved America, and for each and every generation that will follow us. To accomplish this mission, I implore you to please, please register to vote if you haven't already. That is a duty we have. And the day that I learned that I could register to vote, I have goosebumps. I couldn't wait to do it. I actually voted for a Democrat. And in fact, for 40 years, I worked with Democrats in complete dedication, and that's what I'm doing now. Dedicated to the club that we have put together. And I want to call my colleagues, my friends, my new friends, my old friends, those of us who've been working since July to get this program and club going. Could you please stand? I know you're all scattered, and I would love you to please stand, because you have done with working with me, working together, and that's what together is. That's what it is, working together, making things happen so that we can all live in a country that's free and that we all grew up in. We're a bunch of seniors here, and I don't mean of high school. We had several women registering people, addresses were changed or whatever. That's the right thing. So please, please, if you haven't registered, and if you are thinking about whether I should vote, I shouldn't vote, go out and vote. It's a gift to all of us who are living here, immigrant, non-immigrant. All of us have that gift to share. And that's the way we get to speak. That is our voice. So I am urging all of you, if you haven't, as I said, registered, please do so. We even had a young Republican. Was she here, by the way? Eliana, was Eliana here? No, she wasn't. But she was supposed to come as well. She's a young Republican. And they're busy registering people. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. We weren't sure how many would come, and as that wonderful maintenance person, Tracy, said to me, you know, you need more chairs. We didn't know this was going to be a crowd. And so I am so grateful to all of you, to our veterans, to our wonderful, wonderful veterans. If you are a veteran, would you please stand up? We want to applaud you. You are all marvelous, marvelous legacy for all of us. You did this for us, not just yourselves. And I know there are some who are sitting and not getting up. This is who we are. We are people who love each other, who love this country, and who love that flag. And so I am so grateful to be standing here and sharing some very, very personal and deep feelings that I have about being an American citizen. And you know what? I had to get American citizenship papers, and I still haven't. Yes?
You are a national treasure.
And I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Mort, come over here, right now.
You're a local treasure.
Mort Cuff, World War II veteran, 95 years young, and listen, you're really not any of that at all. I would say, when I spoke to him on the phone, I said, he's not a senior.
Mort, you look fabulous for 95 young.
I'm not a very psychic.
He has such a personality, but you know what else? He has a gift. He's an artist. He is a marvelous artist. And I appreciate that very much because you know I'm studying.
What are you doing later?
You know, I couldn't wait for that offer. Isn't that exciting? Even at my age? I don't care who asks it, by the way. Anyway, we are now coming to the conclusion of our program. How wonderful to get to know some wonderful people I have not known. Wayne, thank you for helping us with that. Wayne Byron, who is the cadet program at Olympic Heights High School. And aren't they marvelous? Boy, they are. Could you stand up for Gilly? You all are fabulous. And if you look at the program, we've got a lieutenant there, a captain. I mean, I couldn't get over their titles. It's just amazing. And they are Marines. Right? Did I get that right? I'm learning. When I got all those initials, initially I said, what does that mean? I had to study it, I must admit. And I was happy to get to know all of you as we have to see what young people can be today. Just amazing. You are a gift to this country. You really are. And now we come, sadly, maybe, to the end of the program. And of course, we have another gift. And that's a wonderful tenor. We are to join him in singing.
From the mountain to the prairie to the ocean, I will come. Unless America, my home, sweet home. Unless America, my home, sweet home.
Bravo, Andrea. Garofalo. Bravo. Thank you, everyone. I know you don't want to leave, but listen. This has to be cleaned up. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.